Hello, my name is Barry Anderson. I'm a director, cinematographer, and author, and I just want to welcome you back to another webinar here. We're kicking off 2018. I want to thank Pro Video Coalition, Moviola, and FilmTools.com. Starting our third year with them, and I'm super excited. This year, we're not only going to be doing stuff on, just tips and tricks of, cameras, lenses, lights, that sort of stuff, but I'm actually going to be doing stuff like we're doing today, which I'm really excited to present with you, because today we're actually walking through how to score a real-world film scene. So this is an actual scene from my movie that will be wrapped and ready to release here in actually next month, called Relentless, and this is actually going to be Q13. There were 18 Qs in the movie. Picked this one because it's a little bit shorter, so that as we replay it over and over again, it'll be easier for you to kind of remember enough to be able to kind of see some of the small tweaks that we're doing on it. So what I like about this sort of webinar is I'm actually able to dive in and show you some of kind of the behind the scenes. This is exactly how it works. This is when I get paid to do something. This is my workflow. So maybe you can take things that you like, things you don't like, and apply it to what you want to do. But I just thought kind of peeling back and being able to show you just exactly how it's done would be kind of fun. So being a director, I don't have any musical background. I have no musical talent to speak of, and I don't speak the musical language. So I thought there might be other people like me out there that, I maybe are intimidated working with a composer, don't know, how it works. So I just want to show you what that process is like. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first thing I want to show you is the temp track. So in this particular film, a lot of times I'll go through, I have a couple hundred different movie scores from, all genres, all ages of movies, and I go through and I normally pick out very specifically, tracks and music that I think perfectly fit the movie that then I can give to the composer. This is actually one of those odd times that I didn't do that. I let my editor pick an entire, palette of music that we edited to, and we're able to create and kind of do the I guess kind of the preview showings where we were kind of dialing it in, and I just told myself to tune it out. But even though I told myself to tune it out, you start to fall in love with what you got, which always makes it more difficult down the road. So I want you to see what I started out with. This is the scene with my temp track, and I'm going to play it for you now. So what's interesting about this is, like I said, a lot of times if you're dealing with, whether it's John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Rachel Portman, Alexander Desplat, if you're dealing with a real composer from a real movie set or a real movie soundtrack, they're talking, 80 to 150 different players, millions of dollars sunk in, and if you fall in love with that and you think, hey, maybe I can go ahead and license this, it's not going to happen. So I see a lot of people that kind of get hung up on that, and then when they find a composer, they're basically setting that composer up for failure because they can't, on the budget and the resources they have, match that. So in this particular case, even though I told myself that, you hear it a couple, 100 times, and your brain starts to kind of have this muscle memory with it. So now I want to play for you the first version of Q13. And what's always fun about this is, you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait and you can't wait to get the tracks from the composer. But now we go ahead and drop it on here, and it's kind of like you relive the scene for the first time completely different. So you guys, this is obviously the first time you're seeing it, so it won't have that same impact that it hasn't been ingrained in your head. But a lot of times what I find is I actually have to kind of fall out of love and back in love with what I'm hearing. I have to find out, does it really work, and am I just comparing it to that temp track, or do I like it for what it is? And if I can like it for what it is, I know we're on the right track. So let's go ahead and play version 1 of Q13 for you. So there you go. So now we know this is the starting point for the entire, well actually we're smack dab in the middle of the entire score, because we had 18 total tracks, this is 13, and this is one of the more lighthearted ones in the film. So in totality we had 6 versions of this. So you just heard version 1. I'm going to actually play version 3 for you. I had a couple back and forth with the composer with some just general notes via email that were all pretty small and easy for me to articulate. So as I said, I don't have any sort of musical training, so I feel like I don't speak a music language. I kind of stumbled my way through this. So there's only so much I can do via email. So after I play version 3, what I'm going to play for you is an actual phone conversation between Andrew Joslin, the composer, and myself. And you're going to hear us talking through, you're going to hear what I'm talking about, how I'm talking, how I'm describing things to him, and how he's processing it. And then we'll end the webinar showing what that was. So let's start here by kind of middle of the road, or middle of the process scoring. This is version 3 of Q13. So some of you are like, wow, I hear the differences, some of you don't. What's kind of interesting is this, is you don't know what I've told him. And I set this up on purpose because I want you guys to see, how much can you pick up on? Because it's really difficult, because what I found with this process is you wait, but then it gets to the point where your schedule gets to the point where you're hearing all these different cues, and my brain, I don't know how it works for you, but my brain, if I get too much information, I can't really break down the minor details, the minor things that I want. So in hearing this, Now, if you're kind of going back and comparing between version 1 and version 3, you might start to pick out what I did, but I figured that was going to be too difficult to show 6 versions of those and spell each and every one, because it would be like a several hour-long webinar. So let's go ahead to here, and I'm actually going to play for you. So there's no visuals along with this. It's directly a recorded. I got Andrew's permission, and I said, hey, someday I'm going to put this on a webinar, and here we are today. And you're going to hear it. I used an app on my phone called Call Recorder that records the actual call, so it's a good enough quality, but it's not great, so you just have to kind of listen through it. But this is the real world stuff I want you to hear. This is exactly how I would talk if no one was listening and getting this done. So you're going to hear me trying to describe things, you'll hear him kind of processing, and then when that's done, we'll come back and we'll take a look at the final version of this clip. So go ahead and listen to Andrew and I be creative.
Are we still friends?
Yeah, we're still friends. Even if you tell me you hate everything, we're still friends.
Well, the good news is I don't hate everything. No, that's I don't think I've really hated anything that you've done. So some of it I just don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to send you an email that we can talk through, and I can make more distinct notes. But I thought potentially just talking through it, you might alleviate some of my thoughts, or if you need me to get you more detailed notes, I can plug it down to like time markers and stuff on the timeline and send it back to you.
Sure.
I just want to get you what you need as quickly as possible. So I just sent you the email, and the quick note is the first cue comes in. It comes in a little bit dark. You have that beautiful stuff kind of mixed in after the first bar or two, and I don't know if you wanted it to be that dark right away and then have the transition in there or not. But it just felt a little like that was supposed to be kind of a nice relief. So I don't know if we need that bridge in terms of musically speaking, or if we brought in kind of some of that happier tones that happened after the first bar or two earlier, if that would wreck what you have.
Give me a hot second. Let me pull up Q13 really quick so I can. It's one of those like, oh wait, yeah, which one was Q13? Like I feel like I just
I know.
Name everything. Like this is the moment when she hates life, and
this is when she basically starts going through all the boxes, tries to drink the water, dumps it out, listens for the rain.
Oh yeah,
it's that really short cue.
Let's try transitions to screwdrivers. Okay.
And it might, and partly the problem might be is the fact that I don't have Q12, and it might be part of your master plan to blend them, and then it's probably might be fine. So again, that's why I thought talking to you.
Oh yeah.
You might be like, no, Barry, that's part of the master plan, and in which case, I can defer your wisdom.
Cello, so having the cello come in at the beginning is actually kind of a breather, because we don't give the cello many highlights. And it heralds. It's kind of like a more. It's a sweeter tone for the cello. It's a little darker, but what comes before it is relatively the same vein of what I sent in the initial Q12. It's kind of the more kind of heralding back to the initial like beginning and kind of the dark swells and other stuff. So all of a sudden, it has its dismiss and whatnot and blah blah blah. But when that cello comes in by itself and then all of a sudden feeds into the kind of the happy melody again, it's like it's supposed to be kind of somewhat deceptive in that you think it's going to be dark and then you're like, oh yeah, this melody. Oh, that's nice.
See, this is why when I'm doing little chunks, sometimes it's easier just to talk. So then I don't think you need to change the intro, because I think that'll be fine. However, I am a little bit concerned because I know we're going to leave breathing room on the flip side of Q13, and now it feels, I guess to me it kind of feels like it just kind of trails off. There's not really an end to it. So I don't know if there's a way to fix it or not, and I don't really have an idea. It just has this beautiful, I really like the piece, and then just
I have ideas galore, so.
Okay. So I mean, what I loved and what I couldn't figure out on my own was, when she picks up the flashlight and starts clicking it. I don't know how hard it would be to try to time something with the music that kind of almost like when there's a couple times she clicks it, and then like she's like, oh, I have an idea. I didn't know if there was something we could punctuate musically there, but I really love kind of the melody that you have laid down. So I don't know if there's like another instrument or beat that could kind of accentuate that, and I don't know if that would ultimately kind of wreck with what you have. So I thought if there was something you could do on that like flashlight beat, great. If it doesn't, then just, I don't know. I think there's got to be a better end to it, or a better way to kind of blend and drift off, because we need the silence there so she can scream. But just right now, just it feels like how I normally do audio. I take a clip that's too long, and I basically just do a nice long dissolve out to nothing, and people are like, that was weird. It's not that bad, but I'm just saying that's how it kind of felt when I was listening to it a couple times here.
Totally. So
I don't know if that's helpful or not, notes wise.
No, totally. I have the music going out by the time she opens up the window. So you just were thinking maybe having something that more helps punctuate when she's turning on and off the flashlight.
Yeah, well, I guess it's like she starts being lazy and she's just flicking the flashlight. Then all of a sudden it's kind of like the proverbial the light bulb goes on. And so then it's weird because it transitions. The music bridges into quote unquote the next scene where she pulls out the screwdriver, and then by the time she gets to the window, it's gone. But I guess it feels. I guess the only way I can say is it feels unsatisfactory. Like as an audience member watching it, it just kind of feels like you're like, oh, okay, it's over. I think because I'm having fun in it, the way it ends is just kind of. You don't really get a payoff. And I don't necessarily need a big crescendo or anything like that. Just that's how it feels to me.
Do you think maybe the music should go a little bit longer?
I mean, I think you got some more room to pull it, because you have that nice string that goes off, and it's mostly imperceptible by the time she pulls the. So I think, I can hear it when I'm really paying attention, but I don't think a lot of people will. So I think you got another second or two there. You could have that almost trailing as she's opening the window. Then you start hearing the crickets and stuff. I think you can blend that better.
Well, by the time she yells help, that's when it's like all of a sudden like maybe a hard stop.
Yep.
Okay. So
just the blending of that one would be fantastic.
Okay, extend to help blend. Oh, because I have it end really kind of on an odd kind of like you don't quite know what's going on, like the strings are being held out.
Correct.
I can extend those, but it kind of helps to re-emphasize the bizarre situation that she's in.
Yeah, and I think maybe it is just the fact it's ending too soon, but there's something about it that just feels like it's not quite there, which is not helpful information at all to you. Just
totally. I can extend it, and I'll try and see if I can have this. I'll see if I can emphasize the flashlight clicking. I did clicking. Trying to see because I have everything.
She doesn't do it. Yeah, I was gonna say she's not on any sort of beat. I don't think so. What I don't want you to do is spend a lot of time trying to fit that in. If that messes everything up, I just thought if you're going back to do something with the end and you're like, oh man, I could do a couple of things like this and that would be cool. Try it. If it does not work that way, then don't.
Okay, I'll try my best. I'll see if I can do a little bit more where I have it blend a little bit better at the end. So, okay.
If you thought you knew me, now you know me a little bit better. If you were working with me, these are exactly the type of conversations that I'd be having. And I'm trying not to edit them out so that you get to know more of who I am, and just walking through that whatever your personality, whatever your skill level, whatever you're at, just being able to kind of talk and communicate, that's all part of the creative process. And in my opinion, that's probably more important than almost every other technical skill that I have, is just how do I deal with people. So let's go ahead. There were two other versions before we get to version 6. But again, I wanted you to hear kind of the final. So this is not the final mix down that we did for the releasable soundtrack, but it's the totality of all the changes he made outside of what we did in the mix. So I'll save that. when we do release the soundtrack, any of you guys that want, just go ahead and let us know, and I will send you out a link for that once we do release it, because I'm really, really, really happy, and I'm really proud of the score, and I think Andrew just did a bang-up job. So let's jump in and let you just kind of see how, or let you listen to how it all came together. This is version 6, the final version of Q13 of the movie Relentless. So there you go. That's from version 1 to version 6. You get to hear how we talk through it, and you can hear it now. And to some people, you know, this, I would say that this track had some minor changes. It wasn't kind of radically overhauled. There was a couple other ones that we spent much more time battling, and I had them throw out some things. But to do a webinar on that, again, that would be, some of those would take, probably cutting it down, easily take, you know, between 1 to 3 hours to watch that whole process. And I didn't think that for diving into the real world, that was maybe enough. So if it's something you want to see, I can definitely put that together, so just let us know. But I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate you guys starting off 2018 with me here, and this year we'll be doing more of these, so let us know if you have questions or ideas. We'd love to hear them. I'm going to get back here at the Microsoft Store prepping for tonight, so I'll let you guys all get back to your day, and again, I appreciate it. Happy shooting, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Barry Anderson with 2 S's, or feel free to email me with any questions at Barry, B-A-R-R-Y, at BarryAnderson with 2 S's.com. Cheers.